So it turns out that doing calf raises on a belt squat machine is the best way to go about it. I've never done this before. Somebody mentioned in the comments as I was talking about the calves and the role they play in the squat along with the anterior part of the lower leg, the anterior tibialis and all the other musculature involved with the ankle dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. And so today I was like, okay, let me try it on the damn belt squat machine. So I put my blocks underneath my feet and I set up and I started doing it and I was like, wow, this is probably the best way to load it. Automatically I thought about Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day doing those donkey calf raises, whatever they're called, where you bend over and you do calf raises, get more stretch into that posterior chain, hemis and calves, and do it that way. Thought about it doing it there, but then I thought like the standing version also is unbelievable. The machine at gyms where you are, it's like a loaded calf, standing calf machine, but the weight's on your shoulders. That's okay as well, but there's a lot of instability through the spine, right? Like, you're battling the whole spine element to it, but this is like loaded exactly on your hips, so it removes a lot of the stability issues out of the way and it's just all in your calves. It's the best way I've ever done calf raises. That, along with the seated version, I know I spoke about, getting that machine, the seated calf raise machine, but just putting the hip thrust pad on a bar and doing it with a barbell, seated barbell, like seated, and then a barbell on your knees works really well as well. So there's no need to get a seated calf raise machine. Anytime you can get away with not buying a machine, clogging up your space, it's a win. As long as it's a really good version of it. You don't want to compromise and, do crappy versions. So, in terms of calves, I'm set. This calf raise machine is unbelievable. The calf raise machine, the belt squat machine, when you're doing the calf raise, is really, really good. So I did that. Did some light squats on the belt squat machine. My quads are fried from yesterday. The 90-minute ride on the bike is really worn me out. So I did a few sets of that, but I didn't push too hard. And then I went for a run, and I was supersetting my run with tib raises. So I'm running around the block. It's 600 meters, I think it was. 600 odd meters. Do a lap, get in here, do some tib raises, do a run, tib raises, do a run, tib raises. And I feel like my Achilles and my calf is getting a little bit more conditioned. So after 3 lots of those runs, so, I'm a freaking true marathoner, aren't I? But it's getting more comfortable. So I think I'm not too far away from proper running without, dealing with pain. I don't want to speak too early, but maybe I'll wake up tomorrow a little bit sore. But activating the calves, activating the tibialis anterior, then going for a run felt like I was way more springy, way more bouncy, way more happy running. And so I could push the pace a little bit more. Like, so far these runs, man, like I haven't even been, having difficulty with the breathing. It's all the freaking lower leg stuff, man. I can't even run. I know back in the day I used to run 10Ks and 5Ks and all that part of the basketball. And back then, obviously my knees and hips and ankles, that were really healthy, mind you, I was freaking 70 kilos, 75 kilos when I was playing basketball. Now I'm 100, so it's a lot more weight on the body and a lot less conditioning to the ankles and the calves. So, but back then I used to struggle with the breathing. Obviously, that's kind of the whole point of running. So I look forward to that. But the whole point of me doing these runs is to strengthen the lower legs, and become more springy. I think this is probably connecting the ideas that I had around jumping prior to squatting. Something to do with probably calves as well, something explosive. Running is basically a plyometric exercise, when you think about it. You are bouncing, and the forces through your calf, Achilles, when you are running are much, much, much more than you can imagine. So, when you're lifting 300 kilos, the squat, some of us that I can, many of us can't, but let's say you're lifting 300 kilos. So that's the weight you're using, and it's very slow and steady and whatever. You are producing more force when you are running. It's the whole stiletto effect. So I'm a 100 kilo dude. I'm running, I'm jumping. That's what running is. You're hopping. And the acceleration of gravity and the fact that you're falling on one point of your foot, the forces are exponential. Much, much more force going through the leg than there is doing squats. When I realized that, I couldn't believe it. I think Louis Simmons said that back in the day, talking about sprinters and how to periodize sprinting. And he said that doing hard sprints is like super maximal work. People underestimate how much force is being produced on the body when you're doing a sprint. Well, running, athletics, plyos, the forces involved are ridiculous. So if you find like you are not transferring your force from the gym to plyos, it's probably because of that, because plyos are laughing at the force we produce with squats. They have their place, but without doing plyos, without doing athleticism exercises, athletics, jumping and running, you're not going to have much success. So, but having that said, it is very, very easy to overload on them and have connective tissue trouble and all that stuff. So I'm kind of combining my past and my present. Back then, all I did was plyos, no strength at all with static strength. I had no strength to move weight. It was all plyos. Now I'm doing, all static strength, slow strength. I have no plyo ability, no power. So, mix and matching both. There's probably a happy medium somewhere there for the application that you're looking for, but just make sure you respect running and respect jumping, because the forces are very, very large. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.